Welcome to The Lamp. I'm Pat Munsey, publisher of the Kokomo Lantern, and this is our weekly news program where we highlight things that are going on in the community or things that are interesting to us and hopefully to you. And today we're going to talk about the most interesting thing that's taking place in Howard County for at least the next 300 years. That would be the total solar eclipse that's coming on Monday, April 8th. So if you haven't heard about this, what rock have you been living under? Because everyone has been talking about this eclipse for months. Here we are, by the time you're watching this, just a few days away from the event. So I'd like to run down with you some of the things that you need to know or you might want to know about the eclipse if you intend on viewing it. And if you're not intending on viewing it, what's wrong with you? This is something that's only going to happen once in your lifetime, once in any of our lifetimes. The next time it comes to the Indiana area will be like 2338. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't intend on being around here in 2338. So this is really my one last shot at it, and yours too. So take the time. It's only going to be here in Kokomo for less than 1 minute total, and only in part of the city. So you might want to get prepared and take a look at it. So let's talk about what to expect with this eclipse coming up on Monday the 8th. The eclipse itself is going to start somewhere in the 1 o'clock hour, but it'll be a gradual thing. So you'll start to see a little piece taken out of the sun if you were looking at it directly. Don't look at it directly. I can't believe I would have to say that, but amazingly, yeah, you have to say those type of things. Don't look directly at the sun until we achieve totality. So somewhere around 1 o'clock, this eclipse is going to begin, and it's going to conclude somewhere in the 4 o'clock hour for Kokomo. And so during that time, the shadow will slowly cross across the sun, blocking it out for our area. And at approximately 3:08 p.m., we will see totality in the southern half of Kokomo only. And this is important to keep in mind because if you live north of Markland, there's a good chance you're not going to see totality. If you live on the eastern part of the town, you might catch a little bit of it, but it's going to be pretty short. Here where I live in the southern part of the city, I'm going to get about 35 seconds of totality. And totality is where the shadow completely covers the sun and we are in complete darkness. If you are north of here, you don't get that completely. You're going to catch 90%. You're going to get what they call the diamond ring. So it'll mostly cover the sun, but you'll get this corona and then you'll get like a bright spot up on one side of it where the sun's kind of shining through a valley on the moon, which is kind of a neat thing too. So you'll get to see most of an eclipse. It'll be pretty dark, but it won't be that totality, and you won't be able to look at it with the naked eye. So you'll have to wear the eclipse glasses that everybody seems to have. But if you don't have eclipse glasses, the Kokomo Lantern has eclipse glasses that we are giving away for free. All you have to do is email us at kokomolantern@gmail.com. And as long as I've still got glasses, I'll bring them out to you before the 8th so that you'll be ready to view the eclipse. So if you are north of that line, you'll need to keep those on the entire time. If you're south of that line, when totality occurs, you'll be able to take off the glasses and you'll be able to look at the eclipse directly without damaging your eyes. And as I'm told, it is a remarkable scene. You're going to see a corona. You're going to see these filaments or extensions of the sun's atmosphere that light up in whites and pinks, which sounds pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. But there's a whole line of things you'll be able to see leading up to that totality that even people that won't get totality will get to see as well. So again, you'll see parts of that sun just slowly get eaten away by the shadow as it approaches totality. But there are going to be some things that are happening here in our environment that will change. They're kind of neat. It'll get darker, obviously. The temperature will drop noticeably. You'll actually feel it start to change as we get around 10 minutes in before totality. It's really going to start to drop off pretty hard. When you get in around 2 minutes, you're going to get a weird shadow banding is what they call. And I don't know the science behind it, but if you're looking at a white surface at that time, you'll actually see kind of ripples in the light that are caused by the movement of that shadow. So that'll be kind of cool. I mean, seeing light as more of a fluid than light, that's kind of neat. I'm looking forward to seeing that. You're going to get to see that for, about a minute before totality. As we approach that time, the crickets are going to stop chirping, or start chirping rather, and the birds are going to stop chirping, so they're going to think it's nighttime. That's all pretty cool stuff. So even if you're not planning on looking directly at the eclipse or experiencing the eclipse, it's going to affect you no matter where you are in Kokomo, because we are at the edge of a 120-mile wide band of totality, but the eclipse goes clear up into Minnesota, where you get a partial eclipse. So you're going to be able to see some level of eclipse no matter where you are in Kokomo. But everybody seems to want to see this totality because it's so rare. And by everybody, I mean everybody in the nation, people in Canada, people in Mexico, they're going to want to see this, and they're traveling to the areas that are along that path. Indianapolis happens to be pretty close to the middle. Bloomington's almost directly in the middle of that path. I know Dallas, Texas is along that line, but anyone who lives within that should expect that they're going to have a lot of new neighbors for about a day, as roughly 1 million people decide to come into Indiana that don't normally live here to experience that. Now, fortunately, that's spread out across a very large band across the state. It's not like we're going to have 1 million people in Kokomo, but we are going to see some more people probably stop in Kokomo, or at the very least, they'll be here on the way back out. And that's what we need to be prepared for, regardless of our interest in the eclipse. Because all these people who are interested in the eclipse, they're going to need food, and they're going to need shelter, they're going to need all those things. And so as they come through, they may not stop here, they may go to Indianapolis, they may go down to Bloomington or someplace in between. They'll watch that, and then they're all going to go home at the same time, which means the traffic's going to be a little tough on the highways. So I wouldn't expect getting anywhere anytime quick on US 31, for instance. So prepare in advance for that. And with all those motorists, that means a lot of demand for fuel. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that we have gas stations run dry for a short period of time, immediately following the eclipse. So maybe have a full tank of gas just in case, or at least a half tank of gas, something to get through a few days until those supplies can be replenished. Same thing goes for your food. You should probably head to the grocery this week and go ahead and stock up on anything that you think you might run out of. It's kind of like having a snowstorm. So this would be a French toast event, as some of my friends like to say it. So, if you're into your bread, milk, and eggs, go get your bread, milk, and eggs now. Or whatever your favorite beverage or food is, because there's a good chance that they may be a little thin as the eclipse comes and goes. So all things to keep in mind. There are 5 major events that I know of that are taking place in Kokomo that you can go view collectively with friends and fellow citizens to watch the totality. 2 of them are north of the line, 3 of them are south of the line, so plan accordingly. If you're just about the experience and totality is not the be-all, end-all for you, you just want to see the eclipse and have some fun, well, there are 2 events in downtown that will take place on Monday. One of them is a Riverwalk concert along the river trail there over by Fox's Trail Restaurant just off of Main Street. So they're going to have a concert, and I've got it here. That's going to run from 1 to 4. I can't remember the names of the artists. Maybe my cameraman will be clever and he'll put it up beside me somewhere. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. I'm just a caveman. But needless to say, there will be a concert and some fun activities along the Riverwalk from 1 to 4 on Monday. At the same time, over at Kokomo Municipal Stadium, you've got Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union and Z92.5. They're putting on a Dark at the Diamond event in the baseball stadium, where you'll be able to get a free pair of glasses and experience some good food and some music and a lot of fun and games. And that's going to run from 2 to 4 on Monday. So there's something you enjoy. Again, you won't get to see totality, but it'll be pretty dang close. I mean, they're only going to be, 1,000 feet from the line, maybe. So that's pretty close. You're going to get a 99.9, but that's still not enough to take off the glasses. Now, south of that line, in totality, we've got 3 events that I'm aware of, one of them being at Indiana University Kokomo. Professor Patrick Model and the science department there at IUK is putting on an event at the observatory on the campus, and that's going to run, what we got there, from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. So there are going to be telescopes set up on site on a smaller scale that you can look at the sun indirectly. And then the big telescopes will also be trained on it, and there will be some live stream of other locations that'll be watching at the same time. So you'll get a lot more science education with that event than maybe the other ones, but still is going to be a great time, and going to have some really cool telescopes taking a look at that, so you can get some really detailed images if you're not looking at it directly. I fully intend to look at it directly, and I would encourage you to do it as well. I went to an event at IUK a few weeks ago with the bad astronomer, Phil Pyatt, and he talked about how unique these things are, and he encouraged people, please, you're going to have the urge to tape these things, to film them with your camera and what have you. Take the time to actually look at the eclipse and enjoy it, because you're never going to see it again, and it's just not the same. You know, if you filmed your kids' concerts, or your sporting events or whatever, it's just not the same looking at it through a lens or through your camera. You want to actually take a look at this and experience it for yourself. There'll be plenty of people that are going to take some great live streams and some great photos. We'll be looking at them for years to come. Make sure that you get a chance to take a look at this. You'll never get to see it again. Now, the other 2 events we have, one will be at the Howard County Public Library's South Branch over on Center Road. They're going to have a lot of fun activities. It'll be a little more kid-centric, but it's for all ages, and it sounds like a heck of a lot of fun there. They're going to have the largest event as far as duration goes. They're starting at noon and going until 4 p.m., so they're going to have a lot of fun and games and activities that'll be eclipse-related, so that's an entire afternoon of a good time there. And then the Kokomo Parks and Recreation Department is going to have at Jackson Morrow, they're going to have their own eclipse event. Again, all these events are giving away eclipse glasses, so if you don't have glasses, you'll be able to get them there while supplies last. If you're worried about not being able to get some, get some early. Find somebody to provide them. Like I said, we have a few left. I know there are other agencies in the community, organizations that have them, so take a look on social media, see if you can find them if you don't already have them. But if all else fails, show up at one of those 5 events. I believe all 5 of them are going to have a selection of the approved glasses, so you'll be able to watch this properly. Now, if you happen to live in Greentown, you're a little bit luckier than those of us in Kokomo, because you're going to get almost a minute and a half of totality, and the entire town of Greentown is inside that band. So they're going to have a longer and a little bit better view. And I know that the Greentown Historical Society has eclipse glasses that they're giving away this Saturday during their normal operation hours if you need some there. So I'm tempted to make a trip out to Greentown just so I can watch it for more than 30 seconds, because I could stand on my back porch and I could watch it right here at my house. Or I could drive a few minutes and I could catch triple the time. Well, I don't know if that's a big deal, but 30 seconds is surprisingly short. So having that extra minute might be worth the little drive, and I don't think I'm going to have too much trouble with traffic coming back on 22. So you may see me out at Greentown. No promises, but I'm kind of leaning that way. If you have any questions about what's going on with the eclipse, if you go to the Kokomo Lanterns website or you check us out on Facebook, I put up a couple of different articles on Monday. One is in great detail, and the other one just features the events that are coming up on that date, so you'll find a lot more information. And one of the things you're going to find there is how to indirectly look at the eclipse. So for those of you who can't make it inside the totality band, or you want to look at the eclipse as it progresses prior to totality, there's a way you can do that without any kind of big technology. All you need is 2 pieces of paper and a thumbtack or a nail or something that you can make a hole with. So I've got 2 pieces of paper here, and I happen to have a little brad nail. And I'm going to show you how that works. Maybe we'll see. We've got some pretty bright lights here, so I'm not sure how this will work exactly. I mean, they're not sun bright, but I don't know what kind of shadows I'm going to get. So you simply take the thumbtack or the pen, needle, whatever you've got, and you're going to poke a hole in the paper, and you want that hole to be smooth and not rigid, not ragged, which I'll probably have a ragged one because I'm just not good at this, you know. So I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a little hole. And so what you do is you're going to hold this up to the light, and then you're going to hold another piece of paper. And I don't know if this is going to work. Can we see, all right, can you see a little light on the second paper there? So you can adjust the size of that light by adjusting the distance between your two sheets of paper. And what happens is as the light goes through that pinhole, it actually flips, which is a weird scientific thing you'll have to look up. I don't know the name of it. And then it shows you what the sun looks like quite clearly. And as that eclipse comes across the path of the sun's rays, you're going to actually see that eclipse. So it'll start out as a nice bright dot, and then it's going to become a crescent. And you're going to watch that crescent turn into a sliver, and then eventually it will be gone. So if you don't have a telescope, you don't have glasses, but you do have two pieces of paper and something to stick a hole through them, you can watch the eclipse too without risking your eyes or your health or extending any kind of expense or even traveling. And the cool thing is you can do that anytime. You don't have to wait for an eclipse to do that. You can just study the sun doing it that way. It's one of those little home science experiments that you can do. And I don't know if at that scale you can catch some sunspots, but I believe you can actually see sunspots if you get the distances right on your two pieces of paper. So that's kind of a really cool thing you can show the kids, or if you've never seen it before. Just something to try out at home. I would recommend probably practicing that a couple days before, so you know what your range is and how to get it all lined up. You can do it anytime. And so I think you'll be pretty impressed or pleased that you'll be able to do your little science experiment right there at home. Like I said, if you have any other questions, we've got stories there at KokomoLantern.com. Make sure to log on, take a look, and we're happy to share that with you. And again, if you need the glasses, just email us at KokomoLantern@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to get you as many pairs as I can spare at no cost to you. Just enjoy the eclipse. So that's the big thing that's going on over the next week or so. But there are a couple things happening coming up this weekend that you might be interested in. I know that Easter is over, but the Easter celebration is not quite. This Saturday, the Kokomo Parks and Recreation Department is going to hold its annual Easter egg hunt, which is a pretty raucous event, and it's going to take place out at Jackson Morrow Park, again on the south side of town. At 1:30, let me take a look and be sure. Sorry, at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, they will have the kids' Easter egg hunt, and that's for kids from 3 up to like 12 or something like that. Make sure you know what the age range is, and keep in mind that it's going to be staggered because you don't want 3-year-olds running around at the same time you got teenagers running around going after eggs. There's going to be some blood, you know. So I trust that they've got that all figured out. This is not their first rodeo. But if you missed out on Easter egg hunts on Easter, the kids can get a free Easter egg hunt 1 o'clock this Saturday at Jackson Morrow Park. Now, if you're a kid at heart and you don't mind a little bumping and grinding or trading paint to go get yourself some Easter eggs, at 8:30 that night is the adult Easter egg hunt. That's not free. That is $5 for a wristband, which gets you inside the cordoned off area to go searching for Easter eggs at night. They put some pretty cool prizes in those Easter eggs, I guess. There'll be live music, and there'll be, well, maybe it's a DJ. There's going to be music. There's going to be food. There's going to be fun. So if you didn't get your fill of Easter egg hunting this past weekend, this weekend you'll have 2 more opportunities, once for kids, once for the adults, Saturday at Jackson Morrow Park. So that, I believe, is everything that I have to talk with you this week about. And next week, we'll talk about all the other neat things that will be happening in the month of May. So thanks again for watching The Lamp with the Kokomo Lantern. I'm Pat Munsey, publisher of the Kokomo Lantern, and you have a great evening.